UCLA. They got to go to Kansas City.
Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. That's Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. I'm Tyler Mirkovich, bringing you our 2010 season preview for the Carolina Panthers, coming off a 500 season at 8-8. Really struggled early on, but rallied to win 4 of their last 5 games, and another coach on the hot seat. It's got to be John Fox. Influx at quarterback. A lot of question marks all over this team, but they still have a lot of potential. And with their ground game, who knows what could take them over. But Matt Moore takes over at quarterback. Jake Delhomme out the door. He looked very erratic last year, very uncharacteristic for him. And of course, the two-headed monster, both over 1,000 yards last year behind a great offensive line. That's Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams.
Yeah, I look at that quarterback spot. It's going to be a healthy competition between Matt Moore as well as Clausen. And don't forget about Tony Pike, guy that reminded me a lot of Jim Everett coming out of college. But Matt Moore and Clausen are going to be the main 2 guys. Matt Moore is a guy that wins football games, provides the Panthers what they need. He doesn't turn the football over. He keeps the offense moving. So he's going to be a great quarterback for the Panthers if he can hold off Clausen, who's a hotshot rookie. The running back situation, you already mentioned those guys. Best 2 running backs in the league, best duo in the league. 1,000 yards, both guys are tough to bring down and has the speed to take it the distance. But also like the 3rd and 4th backs that they have too. Terrell Sutton, a guy I like a lot out of Northwestern, and also Mike Goodson, a guy I really like a lot out of Texas A&M. But they just fight for carries. It's tough to get carries when you have 2 great running backs in front of you. But overall, the Panthers have the best running back core in the league as well as in the NFC South.
Well, fan favorite Brad Hoover gets the exit. Tony Fiammetta out of Syracuse, very underrated fullback. Look out for his production this year. Let's talk about their offensive line, because it's a lot more impressive than their one-man band at wide receiver. Jordan Gross, so solid at left tackle. Center Ryan Kalo at USC, very solid. And then right tackle, they drafted a couple years ago, Jeff Ota out of Pittsburgh. Those are the 3 anchors. Travell Wharton, left guard, is a road grader. And now they're going to change their right guard. They're going to put Mackenzie Bernadou from a very small college, I think it's Bentley. He's going to start, so that offensive line is very solid.
Yeah, Jeff Ota is on the cusp of being special. I really like the 2 tackles. You mentioned the center. Their O-line is outstanding in the run game. 2 things about a John Fox coach football team, you know you're going to get outstanding offensive line play in the run game, and you also get an aggressive, fast defense that can really knock the snot out of
which go hand in hand.
Right, go hand in hand. So the O-line is how I love their O-line. They just got to continue to improve on their pass blocking if the offense is going to take the next step.
Wide receiver Steve Smith, that's too bad for the 2nd straight year. He must have gave someone at the wire pretty strong stiff arm from that flag, but he'll probably come back before the first game. He's still one of the best in the game, even though he's not the still 27-year-old Steve Smith. He's just now entering his 30s, I think. But Dwayne Jarrett, Brandon LaFell, rookie at LSU. I know you probably like him. You don't like him. Well, he's out of LSU. I thought you like him because he looks like a big, strong receiver, but he has a case of the drops. He's going to compete for a job. Tight end Jeff King, Dante Rosario, Gary Barnridge. They go with a committee there.
Yeah, I like their tight ends, King and Rosario. But wide receiver, they need a number 2 to emerge quickly. LaFell, the reason why I don't like him is that he drops a lot of passes, and I hate wide receivers that drop the football. But he does have the physical attributes that you need. Height, size, speed, but he has to catch the football. Keep an eye on Monty Elwood's guy making a transition from quarterback to wide receiver from Appalachian State. Also, keep an eye on David Geddes out of Baylor, guy that's 6'3", 215. If he can improve his pass catching, he has a lot of speed and a physical frame that get deep. So they really need somebody to step up at the number 2 spot. That's why Steve Smith is unhappy. But if they can find somebody to step up, one of those rookies, one of those guys, they're going to be tremendous.
And Carolina really wanted them to go get a big number 1 target. They should have taken Des Bryant, but maybe they're high on Geddes, maybe they're high on LaFell, maybe one of these guys step up, or maybe they just don't rely on the pass game that much. They were 27th in pass offense, under 175 yards per game, which is brutal for an NFL team. Defensive side of the ball is led by Ron Meeks. He's their defensive coordinator. A lot of question marks on that D-line. It's unbelievable how their D-line how it's turned out to be this upcoming year. Julius Peppers out, all those big names Tyler Brayton leaves one of the defensive ends, a hard worker. Greg Hardy, the draft out of Ole Miss, he might be able to play one end, but Everett Brown really needs to step up because they used a high pick on him last year out of Florida State, but he busted in his rookie year, but we'll still give him time. Tank Tyler, Lewis Leonard, and they pick up Ed Johnson from the Colts to shift around defensive tackle.
Yeah, keep an eye on Ed Johnson. He might even start, I think, so he's really solid. But they depend on 3 players to make an impact this year: Everett Brown, Charles Johnson, and also Greg Hardy. Those 3 guys are going to be vital for the success of the Carolina Panthers defensive line and the defensive success as a whole, because they have to get to the quarterback. So they need those guys to step up and be, tremendous. But keep an eye on Ed Johnson. I like him a lot. That whole group must step up overall in order to have some success.
Well, linebacking core, you cannot mention this group without saying John Beeson's name out of Miami really came on, and he was angry. He was not selected as a Pro Bowler. He was after injuries, but he's really going to take that into consideration. He's one of the best middle linebackers in the game. Thomas Davis, the former safety at Georgia who's converted to linebacker, really coming on before an injury. Dan Connor out of Penn State plays the other one, but they draft a guy I know you're going to talk about, Eric Norwood out of South Carolina, to compete with Dan Connor. So pretty good linebacker.
Yeah, anytime they needed a play made at South Carolina, Eric Norwood made that play. And the injury of Davis may open the door for a guy, James Anderson, to start. Or rookie Eric Norwood. I would start Norwood. Norwood can also play D in pass rush situations, but I would think Norwood will probably get to start as a rookie just because Thomas Davis is out for the year because he tore his ACL. But Dan Connor is going to be special. You can't go wrong with Penn State linebackers. Him, Beeson, and Norwood are going to make a formidable trio back there. Look for those guys to fly around the football and make a lot of plays.
Of course, Connor just came into the league a couple of years ago. Penn State linebackers always making a name. Cornerback, they got a pretty good tandem in Chris Gamble and Richard Marshall, both of them pretty good. Captain Munnerlyn really coming on last year. Safety could be an issue. They lose an underrated guy named Chris Harris. Charles Godfrey, free safety. Sherrod Martin. They bring in Aaron Francisco to back him up, and Jordan Pugh from Texas A&M. Hopefully he can step up because safety's question mark.
Yeah, keep an eye on Pugh. Pugh provides a lot of depth. I liked him out of college, but Sherrod Martin is the reason why they was able to let Chris Harris go. He provided some sparks back there in the secondary, so he's going to be solid. Captain Munnerlyn, a guy I really like coming out of college, and he provided a lot of impressive plays, especially as a nickel corner, so that's going to be impressive. You look at Gamble and Marshall. Gamble is a guy that's vastly underrated as a lockdown corner, always has the ball in his hands, and Marshall's a guy that if they just have to just pay the man, give him his money, so they have a formidable secondary. I think the safety spot is going to be, the one to watch, but I think Martin is going to do fine for the Panthers back there.
Special teams, Jeff Rogers take over a unit with John Casey, always reliable inside 40 yards. Punter Jason Baker. And the return game, they could go with Sutton, they could go with Munnerlyn, but they were a mess in the kick return game. They're 31st, under 20 yards per attempt, and the punt returns, they were tied for 16th, so the return game could get a lot better.
Yeah, you could also add David Geddes to that return mix as well, so even Amani Edwards back there to return. But their coverage unit is going to do a lot better this year. That's why they added guys like Francisco, added guys like Wright, added guys like Marcus Hudson to help out that special teams coverage unit. So look for the Panthers to be a lot better covering the kicks, punts, and kickoffs this year in the as they go throughout the season, because that was a weak spot for those guys last season.
Well, I think Carolina, I think there's too much pressure on John Fox right now. I think Matt Moore is not the answer at quarterback, and then where they're going to go with Clausen, there's going to be a lot of disarray in the franchise. Steve Smith already broke his arm. Who's their options? I love their O-line and run game, which could win them some games, but defense, a lot of question marks up front. So I don't know if Carolina is up the task of winning 8 to 10 games.
See, I like Carolina. I think Carolina is up to the task. That's a team, if you could run the football and play solid defense, you always have a shot. Matt Moore, I like a lot. I think he should have been the starter over Jake Delhomme. But I like Matt Moore. I like the running game. I like the defensive pieces they added. Norwood is going to be a star, and you already know Beeson. If they can just slow down some teams, they're going to be fine. This is another team to worry about in the NFC South. I like the Panthers.
I don't know. I think too much heat on Fox, even though I am a Fox fan. For more, visit footballgameplan.com/NFL or check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/footballgameplan.